Hello, everyone. Good evening. This is Vivek Atray, and I have with me the illustrious test player Pravin Amre. And this is another edition of Playwright Conversations. And the best part is that we are going to talk about the most exciting series ever, and that is India versus Australia in Australia Down Under. We just concluded day before yesterday, and it is absolutely fantastic to say that we have witnessed history. Amazing, astounding, audacious cricket by India, the kind of cricket that never has been seen from a team, especially as inexperienced as this one. India used 20 players in the series, and what was the first test and the fourth test teams, if you look at them, it might seem as if a different country is playing now. But Pujara and Rahane, the captain, were the two players who played throughout the series. However, there is lots to talk about, and let me go over to Pravinji for his opening remarks, and then we'll get into the details of how India won, what exactly went right, and what exactly the Australians found too hot to handle or difficult to handle. What a memorable series, what a wonderful, magical victory. And as one of the newspapers said, we have received 1 billion booster doses from Brisbane with this victory. We don't need any other booster doses anymore. Congratulations, Pravinji, for the whole of India, and good to see you.
Yeah, same here, Vivekji. It's always nice to be with you. And as you said, like we witnessed the history. I think that's the way I think we can describe this entire series because miss we all cricketer also we dream about like going in Australia and doing well, and not only doing well. Like this team has not only done well. I think they've won and came with the cup. I think that's something special about this team because sometimes we Indians sometimes we get satisfied. Oh, we gave the good fight. That's what we needed from this team. We expected from this team. But I think when we were really down first test, we all know like we are 36 all out. It's a different way we created a history there. But I think from coming up from there, from outside is very easy to say that give advice, but to go there and execution is something totally different. And I think that's what this team has done. I think that they executed that. I think that's why each and every member should get the credit for that, because for us as an ex-cricketer also, and you as a seen so many of cricket and expert also, it's easy to talk, but it's all about delivering, in those crunch situation. And for us, it's like after Adelaide, it's like a 3 test matches were remaining and 15 days of acid test. I think I can say that. And every day was acid test for us. And I think those even a last 15 minutes was also acid test for us, because that any result that was possible on that particular hour, basically.
Absolutely, Pravinji, very well said. It was an acid test. It was something which one Australian gentleman after the series, he said, Australian cricket died at Brisbane today. Just like the Ashes, you remember how they started off, and it was as if, it was as if they have finished. They were so distraught. The newspapers of Australia were so fulsome in praise of the Indian team. But let us go back to what you just mentioned, the Adelaide Test. You see, the context was, as you know, we had just come off the IPL. We were still in a bubble. We are still in a pandemic which has not been over. And Australian cities were also partly, affected. Indians were going straight from UAE or Middle East to Australia without their families for a long time. And in this light, Virat Kohli led India, was there after the quarantine, played a couple of practice matches. They had played already the one days and the T20 series where they did reasonably well. They won the T20 series and did not quite win the ODI. But the point is that India was mentally, physically as prepared as Australia for that Adelaide Test, because even Australians were playing IPL. They also went back. They also went in the bubble. So we did pretty well for the first 2 days of the match. And we actually were in a dominating position. Had we done even 250 runs in that second innings, we could have won the match, as you know. There was, of course, a crucial run out of Virat Kohli where Ajinkya was on the wrong non-strikers and Ajinkya Rahane. And then, that how the match tilted when India was 36 all out. So Pravinji, as a batting consultant, as a former test player, as one of those who understands batting so well, let us go to that Adelaide test and notice, why did India crumble? What was it that made India crumble that day?
Well, I think first of all, we should also understand that was a pink ball test. And I think the pink ball, I think also behave, it's totally differently, because you as a batsman, you don't practice that much with the pink ball. The worst part of the pink ball is also that the second session where basically the light merges with that artificial light. That phase is also always not that easy to understand. And we all know like that ball swings, but particularly I must give the credit to Australian bowlers also. The way they bowled that particular 2 hours, but it was just everything like a dream spell. It was, to be honest, and everything that was spot on. Like it was just taking the nick of the batsman, and that's what all Test cricket is all about. If you get best batsman back to back wicket, your team under tremendous trouble, because when you go there to play cricket like that, you want to win the series. So you go with the 5 bowlers, in fact. So it's a lot of pressure on the top 6 batsmen. And if six batsmen get good balls, and I think that then this life is difficult. And that's what we saw in the first test match, second inning, where the batsman's life was not that easy to survive also. And I think that was one of the dream spell they bowled. And I think that's what we said it was a dream spell, because after that, they could not produce that type of a spell in entire series.
I think you're absolutely right. And if you remember, of course, we had the preview of the series. We had a conversation between us about the series to come. And we did mention that the pink ball gets difficult to bat at some point in the day when the light is changing. But it was indeed the dream spell. I totally believe we should give credit to the Australian bowlers. One reason I feel is also that they were fresh in that test match. It was the first test match of the series. They gave their all, and that particular spell was almost unplayable, although some of the batsmen perhaps may have resisted poking outside the off stump. I remember in olden days also Indian batsmen used to sometimes hang their bats outside the off stump, but it is very difficult to play. It is easy to say, as you rightly said. So let us think of the mindset of the Indian team. Post Adelaide, 36 all out. I know for a fact that when India was 42 all out in Lords in 1974, Gavaskar was at a dinner reception where my parents happened to be there. My father was in England. I was a child in England. And my mother told me after coming back that Gavaskar was feeling so embarrassed because they were 42 all out that very day. The reception was in the evening. They had to attend Indian High Commissioner. So it was something which did not sink in for a long time. Here, India had to play the next test match and go to Melbourne. The captain was changed, and Ajinkya Rahane took over. Virat Kohli, I believe, gave a pep talk to the team before going. But Rahane, now let us talk about his captaincy, his performance, and the Boxing Day test match in MCG, which is as big for Australia as for India. And Australia does not like to lose any test match, but certainly not the Boxing Day test match at Melbourne. So what exactly happened in that test match, Pravinji? Just walk us through Melbourne and how did it change the game so much?
Well, I think, as you said, like that humiliation, I can say, like 36 all out, and as a no player likes to be like a part of that history, to be honest. And as you mentioned, like Gavaskar sir was there in that series, and what I like about even that after 36 all out, in fact, only a few cricketer was behind Indian team, and I think one of was Sunil Gavaskar sir. He was with the players. He backed that particular time, because it's so easy to criticize the players with that performance, that any layman can also say that what happened basically. But I think that's the period where the team needs support, and I think where I think the ex cricketers' role is so important. I was also with some channel. They asked me, and that's what first thing I asked. Like, I don't want to say any negative thing, because this time the team needed to be positive. Somebody should be giving that support. I think that's what I think Gavaskar sir, I think they did. I think that was so important. But coming to that test, the mindset, I think, like you said, like every single was heard with that, and every single player wanted to give that their best to see that like we come here. I think we can make doubt that their team is playing for the pride, because the pride is such a thing that you cannot compare with anything. It's a self pride, and I think that's what every individual player came. And a captain, I think that was so important to collect them basically, because ultimately he was the answerable for that every move. And I think that's the best part. The worst part of last three test matches also, we lost all three tosses also. So it wasn't easy journey to us. And I think for that, I think Ajinkya I would like to give credit, because he used Ashwin that boxing day so you cleverly. I will say that getting Ashwin in the first day, first hour, and getting those two crucial wicket. Obviously, Ashwin bowled in the right areas, but I think that move sometimes as a captain is so critical, and I think that set the tone. I think I will say that that was the game where we won. How can we forget the way we fielded also in that particular match, and tremendous thing, like whatever we had a bowling attack, we managed to get their 20 wickets in that test matches. So I think that's credit goes to, because sometimes captaincy is needed to give whatever the resources you got, and for that you as a leader, you have to believe in your team. That's what I think Ajinkya has done in that particular test match. He himself played a great knock of getting 100, and the only 100 in the entire series. So you can understand how difficult to get 100 in Australia basically.
I totally agree with you. I think that was the clincher where India turned it around in Melbourne. And Ajinkya Rahane, had he collapsed, had he got out early, or because of Adelaide, suddenly the captain again getting out. So it would have really demoralized the team. And that innings actually turned the tables on Australia. They didn't know what hit them. And he was quite aggressive also. Supreme batsmanship. I have just seen that ESPN Cricinfo has awarded that innings as the best innings of the year. And Hazelwood has been awarded for his 5 for 8 bowling performance. But as also, I think you mentioned it very correctly, the wounded tiger. So we know that Yuvraj Singh hit 6 sixes after Andrew Flintoff said something to him in the 2020 World Cup. We also know that incident where Amir Sohail was batting and Venkatesh Prasad was bowling in the World Cup, and you know what happened there when Sohail said, "I'm going to hit you there again," and Prasad bounced back, or rather hit back with a wicket. So the thing is that a wounded side, a wounded team with pride to play for, perhaps becomes more dangerous. And as Justin Langer said at the end of the series after Brisbane, he said, never underestimate the Indians. That means they underestimated. So perhaps they relaxed after Adelaide. And also all their pundits, all their big players said that India will now lose 4-0. Even someone like Michael Vaughan, former captain of England, he has no business to say that India will lose 4-0. But he's saying it. So at that time, everybody wanted to say such thing. But then India, the resilience. Let's come now to the third test match, and the resilience, the inner strength, the grit, the determination, the ability to bounce back. After winning Melbourne, they were still to go to Sydney and Brisbane. Sydney, still India was, in the game. It is traditionally felt that Sydney is okay. Even spin comes into play. As you said, Ashwin bowled beautifully in the series. And Jadeja was still there. He got injured in the Sydney test match. So India had a chance, but they probably felt, and Australia also felt. And just to add, Tim Payne in this Sydney test match said to Ashwin from behind the stumps, wait till we get you to the Gabba. So basically, the feeling was that Sydney, we have a chance, and Brisbane, Australia, was likely to dominate. With this feeling, they go to Sydney and see how much guts they have. The team is injured, players are injured. We are having to play almost a second string attack at that time. And in the last test match, the totally second string attack. But Sydney, the great fight back, Pujara, let's talk about him. Let's talk about how Rahane led from the front. Let's talk about Gill. And let's talk about that partnership with Bihari and Ashwin.
Yes, I think after Melbourne, I think it was expected that Australian will come stronger, because as we were hurt, I think they were also hurt in the Melbourne. So it was expected that they will come very strong. In fact, and by hook or crook, they wanted to win that next test match to say that they are dominant in home series. But I think again, like what you mentioned about the role of Pujara, and I think role of entire bowling unit, because I personally feel in that particular test, I think Bumrah's role was so critical. In fact, he was wicketless in a second inning also, but whole day he was bowling with the lion heart, I will say, and he lead from the front as a bowling attack. I think that was so remarkable to see from outside, like a player who is so successful in a white ball cricket, but giving his best. He's not 100% there physically also, but he wanted to do well. And I think he was leading that. He looked like a bowling unit captain, and he himself was done so great. And coming to that last day, basically the partnership of Ashwin and Vihari. I think what I can say, like what are their ex cricketer all also said. I think maybe because of that they were overconfident and they were complacent. I think we can say like that, because they underestimate, because of their ex cricketer was saying that India can't win. But I think the way we played as a one unit, that was so critical. I think it is not you when you want to save the match, you have to do well in all department, and exactly we did that. And in fact, in more than important is like your lower batting order has to work very well, and I think that's what Ashwin done basically extremely well. And Vihari's efforts, who can't forget that playing that session with hamstring injury, it is something special that this team, like you said, the resilience, and that's the statement from each and every player, like we are here not to lose this match, or if we got opportunity we will want to win, but with no way we are going to lose this match. That's the approach was there, and I think that was the mindset was there, and I think we can make out. Again and again, I can say that the credit goes to Australian bowling attack also. We saw like how difficult to maintain our bowler in, I will say, not one test match, it's a one inning, but we saw their three fast bowler playing all four test matches. And the Cummins, the way he bowled in the last day also, I think that's a remarkable. And I think credit goes to their fitness level. I think we should also appreciate the way they bowled, and the attitude, and I think intensity. The way they bowl with those so many in their history, no, their Australian bowlers have never bowled so many overs. I think we make them bowl so many overs, and I think we saw that their intensity never dropped. I think that credit goes to them, and that's why this win is so important for that, because their bowling attack was same. It wasn't inexperienced. They know which areas to bowl, because their home condition, their line makes a difference. That 1 meter also going forward or back, but they know exactly which area to bowl. But we know how to tackle that, and that's what I think matter ultimately.
I think, Praveen, very well said. You're absolutely right. All these factors did make for a great series, and Sydney, especially, I think, was the turning point. Even though Melbourne was the turning point in many ways, but in Sydney, I think Australia started respecting us a little more, and even feeling a little nervous about us, because our batting really stood up to them. And we are now going to talk about Gabba, but before that, I would just like to talk about the individual performances a little bit before going to Brisbane and the Gabba and the most historic victory. Let us talk about our batting from here. Now, you see, in the first match, it was Prithvi Shaw in the opening, then Mayank Agarwal and Gill, and then Mayank was dropped and Rohit was back. His big player, he opened. Rohit and Gill were there. We kept changing our combination. Difficult series for openers, I would say. Openers really lost the plot. They kept, getting out early. But Gill was one who was really outstanding. So if we talk about the batsmen in the series first, Pravinji, before we come to Brisbane, we'll talk about the batsmen and then the bowlers. Gill as an opener. And then let's come to Steve Smith. He was totally out of form against Ashwin in the first couple of matches. He lost his wicket. And even Bumrah got him bowled around the leg stump, where I heard Sanjay Manjrekar saying that many teams have been trying to do that because Steve Smith has a habit of shuffling. But he's never been bowled around the leg stump. It's the first time someone got him. And then Then if you look at Labuschagne, he was probably the only success, only consistent player of the series for Australia. Also got 100 in Brisbane. So look at the batting of the two sides and compare it. And of course, we must talk about Pujara. How Pujara stuck like a leech, how he managed to, neutralize everybody. And in the last test match, was everybody saying he got hit 10 times. I think he did get hit 10 times, but I read his statement today. He doesn't like, a batsman doesn't like to be hit 10 times also. Technically, he doesn't want to be hit. But he says that there were cracks on the pitch, and Cummins was the one who was able to exploit that and bowl on that length. So he had to take body blows in order to avoid his hands getting in the way. So it's a long analysis, but you must tell us, Pravinji, your analysis of the batting depth of both the teams.
Well, first of all, as a for India as a batting unit and our
Yes, carry
Indian
on, Pravinji.
it's always a challenge to play in Australian condition, because you are not only your technique but your temperament is always tested. And I think again we have to give the credit to the Australian bowling attack, because they were the same bowling attack playing for 4 tests. And I think that's the one of the reason, like they know, like they bowled in a partnership also, and that was also one of the difficult phase to play the new ball. And I think as I said, like because of the home condition, they know where to bowl the new ball. They know where to bowl after 50 overs. They know how to bowl second new ball. So I think that those are the thing. I think it matter, because the best part is like whoever failure, whoever came in the team, he makes sure like it's an opportunity for him. And I think we should give credit to Shubham Gill also, because he was also waited for a long time to get his chance, and he wanted to prove. And I think what I like about him is like he played his natural game, the way he played in domestic cricket. I think the same way he played, he maintained that same strike rate, and he was not bothered what happening around him. And I think that's also so important when you go to the international level. You don't want it to do extra sometimes thing, but Shubham looked like he knew what he was doing. That's so critical, I think, sometimes. So that was a thing. I also give credit like a Rohit. He was not fit before, but he shown that intent to go there and face those Australian bowlers, because Team India was needed a good opening batsman. And that particular time in a 2 test match, we struggled to get 50 run start. I think after Rohit came only, we saw that 50 run start on the board. So I think those are small areas, but we did well. But by match, I think I can say that. But I think the role coming to the Pujara, I personally feel Rohit had that opportunity to get big 100 actually. The way he looked so comfortable also. So getting those start, I think he should also understand, like a caliber player like him, he should continue to make sure like that those 100, it would have been taken pressure of Pujara also basically. But that was the case. We know like once Rohit and our opener got out, I think it was all about Pujara. I think the way he looked like he know his game, what is the game he can play and how he can deliver. He's more one of the experienced batsmen in our side, and that's the way he played basically. He has taken that responsibility as a senior batsman in the team, and I think that's what India was needed. So basically, like this quality attack, someone wanted to make sure like they are bowling more overs, and I think Pujara made sure like he was involved in a partnership, playing those session by session, and allowed to our lower order batsmen to score the runs. I think that's the role he played. If we come to the even a last test match, the Pujara's role was that even a fifth day, he makes sure like he anchored the one end, and that's allowed us to get in the match. We set the match, because that's what's all about. Like last session, we wanted to score 140 and wickets in hand. That's what happened. But that situation came because of Pujara, because he played those 2.5 sessions, and that allowed that team to get those wickets in hand basically.
I totally agree, Pravinji. Your analysis, as usual, absolutely spot on, and with so much depth of experience, you are saying the right thing. Two partnerships of 70 in the third test were actually a real blessing for us. And after Rohit Sharma came, he started at least well in all the innings except the last innings, but he could not convert it to a big one. Had he converted even one of these 4 innings to a big one, India may have won more easily. But the point is that this is part of Test cricket, and Pujara had that mental toughness to bat and bat and bat and bat. And we have seen so many slow innings from Pujara, and we often criticize him, but I think he's absolutely, you are right. He neutralizes the bowling, he tires them out. Someone like Cummins is so dangerous. He's the world number one test bowler. And if Pujara can neutralize him, then the other batsman can play the lesser bowling. I mean, someone like Cameron Green coming on, and even Nathan Lyon, I think the Indian batsmen were much more comfortable than playing Hazelwood, Stark, and Cummins. So Pujara's role is absolutely magnificent in the whole series, no doubt. Before we come to Rishabh Pant and all, I'll just come to the bowling before we go to Gaba as well. So the bowling of the two sides was evenly matched when the series started. Bumrah was there, Shami was, of course, not there available, but we had the deadly fast bowling on both sides, and we had experience. Bumrah has 15 test matches, but at least he had that experience of leading the side. And then we had people like Jadeja and Ashwin to bowl spin. And Jadeja, I feel, who was not picked for the first, or he was injured not in the first test match. In the second and third test, he had that opportunity, and he would have really been an asset even in the Gabba. So that all-round position of number 7, number 8, I mean, these kinds of batsmen and players were really important. But if you compare the bowling, let us see how Australia, as you said, maintained the same bowling. Indian batsmen had to face that quality bowling, but Australia did not have to face that experience of bowling. And in the Gabba test, Indians had only 11, 12 wickets between them, whereas the Australians had 1,000 wickets between them or more. So tell us the comparison between the bowlers.
Well, again, like no captain wants to go with that bowling unit, I will say, because I'm talking about from India perspective. Because obviously, as a captain, you wanted Ashwin, you wanted Jadeja. Jadeja, I will say, like we discuss about, but let's discuss about Jadeja's role also in that third test match, because he started with that brilliant catch. You know, that set the tone, because that was the thing, and how nobody can forget how he got the run out of Steven Smith. Because I always believe like Jadeja is maybe the all-time great best fielder in Indian history, I will say, because he has such a temperament. He's a born fielder, I will say, like that. He's not. I have seen him from under 15, so I know him, what he can do basically, and what I like about him, the way he has developed his batting in last couple of years. Because it's happened to me, like I was also sometime the part in IPL, we met each other, and he is the one who wants to play for country at the highest level. And I think he's also came in the team after dropping from the side, so he makes sure he wanted to give that statement. And tremendous the bowling, he know what's the limitation he got, but how he can be effective. He always a bowler who can break the partnership. He's there with the runouts, and he's there with a brilliant fielding catching basically. So that's the role, I think. And I think that's the worst part to see going to the Gaba without Jadeja. I will say, like, that was the biggest loss we had, in fact, because he was the one who was giving us some stability to play that second new ball, and also like his maturity now, I will say, like he know how to get the runs with the lower batting order. So he involves himself with a lower order partnership, which are like a goal for us, those runs in Australia. But yes, that was a challenge for us. Like we had such a bigger injury list, which never happened in the history, and I hope it should not happen in the history again for Team India, because you can't plan such thing when you have to go with like a plan B. I will say we have to go with a plan C in the last stage. So basically it's easy to talk, but you just imagine and go to the shoes of Ajinkya Rahane as a captain, because yes, you fight it out in Melbourne, won that, you fight it out to save that match. And now you are going for a toss where you are vulnerable about your playing 11, and still you have to go and give that result. And I think that's where I think we mentioned about resilience, we fight back. But I think the last test match, what we saw, that I think that was sheer courage. I think that courage is also so important. I think that's what's shown by Shardul Thakur and Washington Sundar, because that partnership really got us in the game, I will say. Because they score more than 300 in the first inning. Means I think Australian batsmen done their job, to be honest. But I think that partnership, even a batsman's, I think that gave us that little edge, that believe we that first inning lead was small, and I think we can come back in the side. Again, a second inning, that wicket was such a good wicket to bat. They were in a comfortable position, but again, Mohammad Siraj coming and getting those 5 wickets, I think that was so critical. And what I liked about the Shardul Thakur, because he was the one who took up the catch of 5th wicket of Mohammad Siraj, but he enjoyed. And I think that's what this team about, I can say, like they wanted to enjoy each other's success. And I think that's what we can saw from that Shardul thing, like when he got a 5 wickets, because Shardul was also looking for a 5 wicket. He was on a 4 wicket haul. So I think this the team. They were enjoying each other's success. And that's the beauty. And maybe that's why you can produce this type of result when the players enjoy each other's success.
I think very well said and very well analyzed. And we are in the middle of Gabba now, and we are talking about Brisbane. And this is the most historic Test match for a long time, being compared with India's greatest cricketing moments and sporting moments. Kapil Dev on the balcony in 1983, Dhoni hitting the six to win the World Cup in 2011, and the great Kolkata Test match with Lakshman and Dravid, and also in Adelaide where Dravid won us the Test match. Fantastic history that India has in Test cricket. And in the last 20 years or 15 years, India has actually become a dominating force in Test cricket. Even now, we are world number one in the Test rankings. We have been world number one earlier. But this match, I mean, the fact that we had 20 players in the series, 6 or 7 first choice players not available, as you said, Plan C was in operation. Even Plan D, I would say. Mohammad Siraj getting 5 wickets, Thakur getting 4 wickets in the first innings, and 3 wickets by Natarajan in the first innings, and then Thakur also getting 3 wickets there, 4 in the second innings, and then Washington Sundar bowling pretty well on a Brisbane pacey wicket as an off spinner and getting wickets, 3 wickets again. India got 20 wickets. In each Test match, they would get Australia out. And this is the key. So, Gabba, if you look at it, and we have still not talked about the hero of the last day, and we must add Rishabh Pant, who was not playing the first Test match, and now he was as a batsman, you can say, but as a keeper also. And I think Rishabh Pant was the X factor which made the difference. Pujara's resistance, Shubman Gill's sublime batting, still we would not have won had Pant not come in and played that innings. And Sundar also in the second innings as well. As you said, first innings, Thakur and Sundar. Second innings, again Sundar. Talk us about that 6 of Cummins, which Sundar hit for a hook for 6 of the number one bowler on the last day. So, Pravin, what is your analysis of the last Test match, youngsters in focus?
Well, I think the role of Rishabh Pant, I think the way we saw, like we just also we can discuss about Ajinkya's that 22 runs also, that brief winning he played. And as a captain, he came after the lunch and gave that statement. I think that set Australian back, because as a captain, you are the one who leader, and I think he is the one who wanted to control the game. But I think Australian got surprised with the approach of Ajinkya, where he came and tried to play run a ball, because we know like Pujara is going to stay in one end. But I think the role after that, I think Rishabh played. I think this is more critical, I will say, because once Ajinkya got out, I think it was so important to play sensible cricket, and that's what exactly Rishabh done for us. Because yes, in the mind he was always aggressive, but he was so selective which bowler to target, which time to target. I think, and I think he was taking very calculative risk, because that's what's also important, because he got the power behind the shots, because he got that ability to hit the boundaries, and I think that was that he was. But it is also that the shot selection, I think that was, we had to give credit to him, and I think this will help him, because he's such a talent and such a rare talent who got ability to hit boundaries and sixes in any format. But he has to spend the time also, and which exactly he did in that fourth inning. That wicket was challenging. Nathan Lyon was bowling in rough, but he was not bothered about those things also. And I think I also wanted to, like, people there, Australian cricketers also criticize Rishabh Pant's keeping and all, but I think they should also think about team pen keeping standard also we can say that, because Sydney very crucial catches he dropped, the result would have been a different. Even in a Gaba, he was the one who helped us, I will say, like get us on a target. So it is so important as a captain to understand like you have to be aggressive, but same time you have to focus on your skill, and that is what he has not done. And I think he helped us in achieve the result what we wanted. But coming back to Sundar and Rishabh partnership, I think that's what the role. Again, I will want to mention about Pujara's role. He set the match for us, wicket in hand, and they believe that because of like today's generation, they play T20 cricket. They believe in themselves, and they know like a runner ball is achievable at any time. And I think that's what exactly happened in the last 1 hour. We never felt that we can't reach this target because our wicket was hand, and we were not bothered to even give those wicket, but get those runs. And I think Sundar's that over was so important because he backed himself like even at the short ball, I'm going to play short. He was not in a two mind that whether I should play or not. His mind was clear, and maybe that's the reason we got that result basically. But again, credit goes to that we wanted the Rishabh to play this type of inning, and I think he understood like he can play both type of cricket in a red ball cricket as well as white ball cricket.
Absolutely, absolutely. In fact, I also feel that Fortune favors the brave, and Rishabh Pant is a brave player, no doubt. Rahane is a brave captain. And we must also give credit to Rashid. Somehow in his whole career, he has had, people probably not really appreciating him as a player. Also, I remember, and we are talking informally or we are talking after many, many years now. I remember chants of Shastri, hi, hi. It used to be some kind of, fashion. But he was successful all around, and he was at times an aggressive player. Even at the test match, how close, I mean, he brought us to the tie. He is something with great batting at that time. And Shastri as a coach obviously inspired the Indian, which, as we discussed, they were likely to lose. They were the underdogs. They were not expected to shine. Had India lost the Gabba test, nobody would have really cried much because we had done well in Melbourne and Sydney. So we would have said, okay, we did our best and we fought well. But Shastri and Rahane really made sure that this team gave it all. And whether in bowling, fielding, or batting, we gave it our 100% and more. And that is what has made us proud. Also, Pravinji, you know that chasing a score in the second innings of any test match is tough. And the highest chase ever in the Gabba was 230. Australia had not lost for 32 years. We were in a plan D kind of team, as rightly discussed. But we won the match. And even a draw would have been like, we would have been very, very happy with the draw. So this kind of approach, has it changed the scenario now? And Australian papers are also saying that India is now very, very dangerous because they have such a pool of players who can play to win from any situation. So the impact of the Gabba test on the cricketing world, what is it?
Well, obviously, like from the first day, you cannot plan what we should be the result. I think you go with the situations. I think, and I think that's what we will say. Like the situation was like that. History is saying like you can't chase more than 250 on a Gaba wicket, up and down wicket. So what was important is to have good start. And I think in a top order to play that role. I think that's why again the credit goes to Shubman Gill, that playing that 90 runs inning was such an important inning, and also with that pace he played actually. So that was so critical. It wasn't like till lunch we were hoping for like we are going to be, because that result was there. All three possibilities was there. We can't say like, and for that you have to set that match. And I think that's why again and again we have to mention again Pujara's role, because we have seen what happens in a back in Adelaide. In a 1 hour we can get out if the bowlers bowls in that right area. But if we survive that 1 hour, then the result can be changed. And I think that exactly happened. We played good spells in that particular. It's not like they are not bowled good spell. They really bowled good spell, as good as Adelaide. But we managed that. We survived that. Maybe we learned the lesson from Adelaide. That's so important to see of that particular phase when they are bowling well. And we wanted to see that Nathan Lyon coming again and Green coming again. because they were reluctant to give the ball to Green because they thought like he won't get a wicket. They are thinking like only 3 bowlers can give them the wicket, or rather 4 bowlers. So they also, we played with their thing, like their entire main bowlers bowled those first 2 sessions. So we make tired basically, and that's the role Pujara played. And I think after again we said that thing after tea time, we had a wickets in hand, and that was so critical to win the test match on the 4th day. So we managed to put pressure on their bowling unit till that 50 runs. We had a pressure on us, but I think that situation came where we managed to shift that pressure on them. And I think that what happened, we discussed about that, how the Sundar got those 6 in the comments over, and that we believe that from there this is our match now. So I think that is what it's a creditable. Like when the situation comes, you have to hold those opportunity. I think we hold as a batting unit. We hold in that way is a bowling unit also. That the partnership of Siraj and Shardul Thakur in a second inning, and we managed them to get them all out. And same time, it is whatever history said. We are not look back what history says. I think that current. I think we were in a present, like this. This is an opportunity for Team India to produce a history. And I think exactly that we did actually. We produced the history on Gaba.
Absolutely. I think we have a few minutes left. What we're going to do, Pravinji, is a little rapid fire with you on the players. I'm going to name the player, and you just in 1 or 2 sentences tell me your impression of him in the series. Also, the Australian players will be there. So, this is the big question that we will answer at the end in our impression. So, talk about Steve Smith, Pravinji, quickly. What did Steve Smith achieve in this series?
Well, I think he was like a heart of Australian batting, I will say, and the way he batted, we saw like when he gets out, their team is different. But when he gets 100, his team looks totally different, basically. But again, he also a champion player, I will say. He know how to come back, how to tackle that. He first 2 test match struggle with the Ashwin, but same batsman getting 100 in a test match. I think he's shown that character again, and I think that the way he played, I think hats off to him, because that he also shown the class in this particular thing. Yes, we managed to get him with some extraordinary bowling also to get him out. We also worked on his strength and weaknesses, and we make him sure like he is not going to get easy runs, and that's what we did. We make him also struggle for runs, which he used to get runs easily, but we allowed him to work hard for his runs, and that maybe that's the reason we can control him, we can say, in this series, because he's also, once he's set, he's uncontrollable a batsman, but we managed to control him.
I will also, we've already discussed Payne and Cummins and the openers of Australia, but I do want to discuss a little more about Nathan Lyon and his 100 test match, and also Mitchell Starc not being as effective as there, and Hazelwood being better than Starc in many respects. So what are your views on that?
Well, again, the surface, I will say, like that sometimes it helped really work for Hazelwood. The ball he used to get skid, and these wickets actually become a little bit slower when that bite was not there, where the Starc is always effective on a fresh wicket. But I think he is a champion bowler, to be honest. Like he got that knack of getting tail-enders out, because his record is like that also. He always struggled to get top order batsmen, but he makes that compensation by getting all tail-enders. But I think the way Jadeja, Ashwin and Vihari batted, I think that was something remarkable we saw, and that's why we made Starc's life difficult, to be always, I will say. It wasn't like he's not bowled well. I think we batted well against him.
Yeah. Lyon was very effective previous times. Do you think the batsmen were able to step out and play, and that's why they were able to neutralize him? Pujara, even to defend every ball, he would move out of the crease and step out and defend. Sometimes looking a little uneasy also. Whereas Rahane and Gill, I found Rahane and Gill were playing him more comfortably. And other players like Rishabh Pant, he would play him very comfortably, back foot, or stepping out or aggressive. So Lyon lost his bite, you think?
Well, I will not say the bite, but I think the pressure of playing of 100 test match, It's like a batsman coming and they come to the landmark. Sometimes that pressure come. He wanted to do that extra, and also like there was a pressure on him to get left-hander out. And I think I will again say like Rishabh Pant handled very well. He counter-attacked him so well. I think that he never expected that he will go against the spin for a sixes, and that's what he was surprised by Rishabh, like going and hitting him over the mid-on and mid-wicket, which is not easy for any batsman on a day fifth wicket. But I think that's the quality of Rishabh we got. We know him, like he got that ability. Once he backed himself, he's unstoppable, and that's what exactly happened. Again, I will say like we again batted brilliantly. We planned him like even a Pujara had his plan to play that particular line, because he know like he was a defensive, but he on that defensive sometimes back pad comes, so he it's not allowed him to get that back pad, and that short leg and leg slip he avoided, like they were not in the play because of his that footwork. But again, like Gill and they make sure like any loose ball make him count basically. Ajinkya also make sure like anything short he was cutting him, and also like a footwork he was getting the singles easily. So I think it's a mixture of the art of batting. I will say art of batting. I will say like we produced the art of batting when we played the Nathan Lyon.
I think you're absolutely right. India's pool of cricketers is something that is really mind-boggling, and we have never had such happy times. Maybe it is domestic cricket which has gone back to being stronger. Maybe lots of matches take place which are quite intense. Some of them are on TV, and we have neutral match referees. We have other things. So domestic cricket has definitely improved. We have a pool of cricketers who are keen to show their talent. And IPL also, we have to admit that IPL has brought out these players playing with the foreign players, sharing dressing room with people like Kohli and Rahane, and that has brought them to so much confidence. They have been on 8 tours, and someone like Rahul Dravid has really improved matters by the way he has mentored these players. It did not seem that people like Thakur and Sundar and others were playing the first Test match. So mature, so full of their skill and confidence. I think that is the key. But your opinion on, was this the greatest series ever? Because the josh and the happiness it has produced in India, this victory in this series, is unparalleled. And perhaps it is also to do with the times that we live in at the moment.
Yeah, I mean definitely means I have not seen, I was very young when I saw
People feeling over,
1970.
even more than a World Cup, perhaps. Yes.
Hello. Yeah, means I just wanted to start with that, like
Yeah, carry
because
on.
1971 was one of the historical victory. I will say that the first Test victory is always a special which Indian team got. But I can say about myself about like 1983. I was a 14-year-old kid, and I think maybe that was the moment I saw Kapil Dev with the World Cup, and I think that really inspired me to play for a national cricket team. And I think maybe this can be also like a inspiration to the many youngsters like this today's era where we all want to play white ball cricket, IPL cricket. But I think the generation of this, they saw the witness something special, and I won't be surprised like in next coming years people wanted to go and take that India Test cap will be the most important thing in their career, because those are the so important thing to get those Test cap and playing for that country. And we as old cricketer, we know that Test cricket is such a quality cricket and a real test of your character, your skill, and your temperament. And I think that exactly this series showed us like what it mean to win the Test match. You need all the qualities to win this Test match, but most important to have that skill to play that red ball cricket. And I think this will really inspire. And in fact, I can say like BCCI also make sure like they are also encouraging now all the Test cricketers. Salary cap is also A+ grade who are playing Test cricket also. So I think that's also really motivating to see that BCCI is also giving so importance to the
Absolutely
Test
right,
cricket.
Praveen. I'm totally in agreement with you. You're absolutely right. I think this was a quality series. It doesn't matter whether it was the best or the second best or third best. It doesn't really matter. Test cricket has won, and India has proven that we have so much depth in our cricket. And these boys have proven that they can not only play 2020s, they can not only play one day, they can play test matches. We produced We thought they were T20 specialists like Washington Sundar. They were there only for net bowling on this tour. And here they are playing for India and winning the match in Goa. I think this series has really changed the opinion of average cricket lover about Test cricket. And you and I and somebody, you have played Test cricket. I follow Test cricket. Many of us are aficionados and we love the game. I think Test cricket will be strengthened by this series. The character of the country, the kind of grit and determination shown by boys from the hinterland villages, smaller towns who have gone on to play for India. We know that Siraj lost his father during the series. We know that Natarajan's wife had a baby during the IPL, perhaps. They have all gone through personal landmarks and they have still shone. And we see that Indian cricket is proving to be the most powerful cricket house in the world. And hopefully, this will continue for a long time to come. But I think I must thank you, Praveen, for a wonderful, wonderful analysis. I enjoyed talking about this series. It has given us so much joy to be a part of this series as spectators. I know that you have mentored Ajinkya Rahane as a batsman, and he looks up to you in many ways. So my special congratulations to you, especially for that. And let us hope that India does very well in the forthcoming series. We'll see you again on Playwright Conversations, analyzing another Test series soon.
Sure, we are all looking forward now the England challenge, right? But in our home condition now. So that we have to see like how we manage that. Yes, we are done extremely well to go and come back as a winner in Australian soil. But again, we have to come back to see how we are going to play in our home condition.
Thank you very much. Always a joy talking to you. And I feel as if while talking to you, I almost feel as if we have a good partnership at the crease. So hopefully we'll hit many runs together in the forthcoming months. Thank you, Pravinji, and all the best. My co-founder, Ranjan Agarwal, also is saying hello and saying that he stayed glued to his seat during the match. And rather he says whenever he watched the match, a wicket fell. So he stopped watching, being superstitious. He went to the mandir and was doing prayers. So India is very happy with the victory.
Yeah.
Thank you and see you again.
Thank you very much.